because I honestly think that Fred Van Fleet is probably out of there. I see a lot of things saying he might be headed.
All right, well, let's get to it. Let's get to it. So, Nick Nurse, of course, he has a deal with Philly. He left Toronto, got fired by Toronto, signed with Philly. There has been rumors that Fred Van Fleet actually may end up in Philadelphia um, with them, and you're going to end up
Hmm.
getting partially the Philadelphia Toronto Raptors or the Toronto 76ers, whatever you want to call them, because there'll be a couple
Really
of
like to go
players that
find a team and just steal it, huh?
there'll be a couple of players from Toronto that ends up going to Philly. One would be OG Ananobi, which I think that they will welcome at the three. I think they will welcome Fred Van Fleet at the one. And both of those players, with the new collective bargaining agreement, probably could be kind of affordable. Maybe it might be tight on OG Ananobi because he's coveted by a lot of teams now. But if you have, especially if you can get Tobias Harris off the books, you have that money to go get those two players. Nick Nurse obviously doesn't want James Harden. Let's listen. I think if this plays, he kind of waffled a little bit. Oh, come on. Nope, video has no sound. So he basically waffled a
No
little bit.
worries.
He waffled a little bit
No,
and
one
said,
thing that he did not say was, "I do want James Harden," and
yeah, he did. He said at
you're
the end,
that
he said, I would love to have him back at the very end.
okay. Well, we'll post this on the Instagram. I want y'all to, when y'all watch it, tell us what y'all think. And I don't think he's interested.
Nah,
I
he don't
I
want to know.
I
He tried to cover it up.
I
He definitely don't want him.
I also don't think that I think that he thinks that James is out too. So I
I,
think that it's one of those situations where he's like, oh,
as I
well,
said
I'm
on
definitely
Saturday
not.
Morning Live, I think James told them before they even made the hire, like, hey, just y'all better let them know I ain't coming back now. I'm out.
And I think that Nick Nurse wasn't the right hire. I
No,
don't I don't
I'm not a Nick Nurse fan. Not at all. Not at all. He
I
has done
don't
nothing.
think that
He's
Nick
proven
Nurse is
nothing. He
actually
is
that
Charlie
good of a
Weiss.
basketball coach.
Charlie Weiss of the NBA.
I think that he was fortunate enough to have a well-coached Dwayne Casey team, find a way to get the best two-way player in basketball for that
Tyrone
season,
Willingham.
and Kawhi Leonard. And then after that, he hasn't been the greatest. They haven't really materialized into anything, and they have players. They still got Fred Van Fleet. People are interested in. They still have OG Ananobi. A ton of people are interested in. They still have Pascal Siakam, who a bunch of teams are interested in. So you have the assets, but what else? You just
And
haven't had
Nick
any
Nurse
level
ain't
of
nothing but
success.
great value Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr had the same thing. He took Mark Jackson's
Wait,
team.
no,
Hold on.
no,
Listen.
hell
Listen.
no.
Listen. Listen. He took Steve Kerr was criticized at the time because he took Mark Jackson's team, implemented a new offense or implemented his plan, and ended up winning a championship with that team. And Mark Jackson got blackballed out of the league. Same thing, except the difference is Steve Kerr kept winning. Nick Nurse didn't win after winning with Kawhi Leonard. As Kawhi Leonard left, he went back. You don't know what type of coach Nick Nurse is because he was only good with Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
Like he was middle of the pack every other time. So you've just paid
Kawhi left,
for a middle
and
of the
that boy
pack.
turned into a pumpkin.
He was always a
So
pumpkin to
yeah.
me. You know, I don't like, man, you know me. I don't like none of that stuff, dog.
Oh,
I don't
oh.
like it when you have a black coach, whether it be football with Charlie Weiss. If you don't know who that is, you too young. Go Google Charlie Weiss or Tyrone Willingham.
Tyrone William.
Go
Yep.
Google that. I don't Dwayne Casey, Mark Jackson. It's been so many coaches, black coaches that are good that end up getting shunned, kicked to the curb, and then the white knight comes in and they make like a giant move and they end up winning the championship similar to the Raptors. And now you forget that
A
Dwayne
move
Casey
that you would
was the
never
motherfucker
make when you had the black coach.
when you had
You think
Dwayne
Dwayne
Casey
Casey?
was the
You don't think he
motherfucking
could have
coach
won
of
with
the year.
Kawhi?
He was the coach of the year before. And you fired him midway through the season, got Kawhi, and let Nick Nurse go. And let Nick Nurse run it. So I don't like when that stuff happens. So I call it out every time. But Nick Nurse to the 76ers was, 76ers fans, shout out to Kev signing in. They like it. I'm not really a big Nick Nurse fan. I'm not.
I'm gonna tell you.
Embiid had to sign off on this for it to happen. We'll see.
Also, the other part about this is the Sixers have a long history of picking the wrong coach. Brett Brown. And then after Brett Brown, Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is now another bad pick, Nick Nurse.
Brett Brown pick. What's his name over Jimmy Butler? Let's move on. Real quick. Shout out to James Borrego. New Orleans. He'll be the New Orleans associate head coach. Borrego spent the past 4 seasons as Charlotte's head coach, who they actually improved every single year that he was the head coach.
This is sneaky good
him.
hire here.
Who's the Willie Simmons? Is it Willie Simmons? Is the coach? No, not Willie Simmons. Yeah. That's FAMU. No, that's right. No, it's Willie.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway,
I love Borrego, man.
Borrego is a good coach.
He got
shit upon. He got shit upon by Jordan. Another person who makes bad.
That was such a poor decision by MJ. That's the one that should probably be the nail in the coffin for him to sell this. Because Borrego had the team enjoying playing basketball again and playing an exciting style of basketball. They look like they were one player away. Now, historically, I don't know why they won't either pay a center or draft one, or they drafted, I think, Nick Richards, but that just didn't work out. But eventually, they're going to have to get a big. And as long as they don't have a big, they're not going to be as competitive as they need to be. But Borrego knows what he's doing. And, I mean, I still, everybody knows the answer to the Pelicans issue. CJ McCollum said it. We need our best players to play basketball.
Yeah. It's all shots at Zion. Steve Kerr, Draymond Green said to Steve Kerr, we have 3 rings. So this was before they run their 4th. He said, we have 3 rings, and Steve Kerr had to flex on y'all. I said Steve Kerr had to flex on y'all and say, no, you guys have 3. I got 8, which is the most, I don't even say that's a humble brag. That's just a brag. Like, nah, y'all got 3. I got 8. Just to let y'all know.
You my boy. You are my boy. I appreciate everything that we've been able to do together. But we are not the same. I am him. I've been him everywhere.
And been a main contributor each time. So I did want to bring it up with Steve Kerr.